Hello and welcome to the Easy English Guide to Proper Pronunciation. Today we're looking at the sounds B and P, and we're looking at them together. And I very much advise teachers and students to look at these sounds and treat these sounds together, because sometimes they are mixed up, particularly for students from particular language backgrounds. So in my experience, students from an Arabic language background will make a different distinction between B and P than those people who have grown up in an English-speaking background. It's not wrong, it's just different, and so it's important to make sure that this distinction is being made properly for English-speaking. So they need to be able to switch. So we're looking at the Easy English Guide to Proper Pronunciation, and you'll find B and P on the first page of the consonant sounds, page 10. There it is there. Now, if you haven't got the guide yet, I really recommend that you get yourself a copy of this. It'll make following these videos a lot easier, and it's also then something you can carry with you and enjoy, because there's lots of useful things in the book. If you're a teacher, you might want to get a class set. Yeah, you have to watch them because the students will want to keep them, but have a class set, keep it on your desk, and this book is something I use at the beginning of every class, every English class I teach, and we have fun with it. So starting with B, and I'm just going to focus on the verses. Of course there are other words here, common words that are useful for practice as well, and we go around the circle sometimes with these. Always get my students to stand up. It's better to stand when you're speaking or learning to speak. Standing and speaking are very related activities. We're usually standing when we're speaking to someone, and it opens up the chest. Yeah, if you're sitting, the chest is a little bit collapsed. So stand up, make them stand up. They love standing up. Even if they don't, it's good for them. And here we go. Betty Botter. Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said, "This butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter, better than the bitter butter, will make my bitter batter better." So Betty bought a bit of better butter, better than the bitter butter, and it made her bitter batter better. I'm just going to talk about the first couple of lines of that. If you've got a student who can run through the whole thing, then you probably don't have someone who's learning English for the first time. Betty Botter bought some butter. It's the B sound, yeah? This whole verse is just dealing with the B. So listen very carefully. If your student is making P anywhere there, then it's wrong, and they need to have that pointed out to them and practice making that B sound. P is made with tight cheeks, whereas B is made with loose cheeks. So that's one distinction you can make. Sometimes you'll have to get really close to a student so they can see what's happening, and that's a good thing too, and it's a bit of fun in the circle. Not too close. So Betty Botter bought some butter. The other thing that's happening here is we're migrating. We're staying with the B, but we're migrating from one vowel sound to another. So Betty Botter bought some butter is e, o, or a. Yeah, and it's important to be able to get the right vowel sound as you go through as well. In the next line, but she said, "This butter's bitter." It's not so much the B that's going to fox them, it's the words she said this. She said this. So you might want to stop on that. Go around the circle. Everyone has to say it. She said this. She said this. It's sh, s, and then the v and s. Actually quite a difficult word for some English language learners. This, because you have to start out and end in. This. The other word in that second line that might cause some problems is butters. So the contraction of butter is, it's butters. You can point out at that time to your students that this S is actually making a Z sound, a zeta sound. Butters. This butter's bitter. Quite often what I'll do with these verses is run through it together, and then I'll go around the circle getting them to say one word each. which wakes them up a little bit, and also if someone makes a mistake, then everyone can join in the correcting. So for Betty Botter, it will be Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said, "This butter's bitter." So you get the idea. We're going round the circle, one word each. It doesn't have to be one word, you can mix it up. 2 words each. Yeah? Then they have to really think, where am I up to? And that way they're also distinguishing between what is a single word or more than one word. For example, is-a is 2 words, but when we say it, we're always saying is-a, is-a. It sounds like one word. So if someone's learning English for the first time, they need to be able to start to make those distinctions and learn what is one single word and what is more than one. And they have to learn that in their writing, but also in their speech. The next one after Betty Botter on the same page is the bottles of pop. And if you look this one up on YouTube, I haven't done this, but if you do, you'll probably find it's a song, and it's often sung as a 3-part round or harmony, and it's very nice. But this particular section, one bottle of pop, asks the student to p, bottle of pop. So you're putting the 2 sounds next to each other there. The other thing that happens in here is the same as butter's bitter. It's 2 bottles of, bottles of. So here it's not a contraction. It's the possessive, and it's bottles of. The sound that's being made in there is like a Z-O-V, zov, yeah, but it's S-O-F, but it sounds like Z-O-V, bottles of pop. You have to get them saying that. Okay, so it goes 1 bottle of pop, 2 bottles of pop, 3 bottles of pop, 4 bottles of pop, 5 bottles of pop, 6 bottles of pop, 7 bottles of pop. That's slower than you would sing it normally, but you can slow it down even more still to make sure that everyone can stay together with that. Going on to the second section, Peter Piper. Probably the most well-known tongue twister, if not the most well-known tongue twister in English, Peter Piper. So good one to do because it's well-known, but also because if you can, you should run through this really quickly for them, so they get the idea that these things are fun, and sometimes teachers make mistakes with them too. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Well, I got through it, but I was trying to make a mistake, and I often do. And it's good to make a mistake in front of your students, because that's what they're going to be doing with you all day, and they want to know that you also muck up. And that you're not at all disturbed by that you just get back straight back on the horse. Peter Piper, sounds good. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers is not just about p, it's about you listening to make sure they're not saying a b sound, and it's about the vowel sounds as well, so same thing again. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers is E-I-E-E-E. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So you're listening to make sure those vowel sounds are coming through as they should be. Vowel sounds are no joke in English, of course. And the last one there on the page, Happy Birthday to You. I read recently, somewhere, that Happy Birthday to You is the most common song in English. Yeah, the most well-known song in English. So well worth teaching if they don't know it already. Well worth getting them to, sing it the same as everyone else sings it. And of course here we've got p-b, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. That's not it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jet. Happy birthday to you. It's not his birthday yet, but there you go. So that's page 10 of the Easy English Guide to Proper Pronunciation, and some tips on how to go about teaching that. If you're an English language learner, you should get the book, and you'll have a video for each page or each sound in the guide. They're being made now. And This is the first 15 minutes of every English class I teach. You can't really do more than what I've just done. Maybe 2 pages is the maximum you'll do in that 15 minutes. 1 page is probably enough. And you have to realize that this sort of work is really tiring. So you have to pace it, because what you're asking a student to do is to change ingrained habits. And quite often your student isn't 4 or 5 years old, but rather 24 or 74 years old, and those habits have been there for a long time. You're asking them to make sounds that they haven't made before, or to distinguish, to distinguish between 2 sounds that they have been distinguishing differently in their native language. So it's not easy work, it's actually quite difficult. You're trying to develop new habits, and that takes time and effort. And so after that 15 minutes at the start of my class, which is fun, my students are ready to sit down.